Here we are for the January 2025 housing market update. We're going to take a look at the stats, housing market stats for 2024. We've been talking lately about how this real estate market is really a tale of two stories, the perspective of the consumers out there and the perspective of the professionals working within the industry. Hasn't been easy for anybody, really, except maybe if you're a seller that doesn't need to actually buy another home. There's a term now coming out in the industry. If you are in that state, you're what's called a locked-in buyer. You're locked in because your interest rate is likely very low compared to what you can get in current times. So you're kind of locked in. But here's some good news I want to read for everybody. This is actually from Redfin. They state that active listings climbed to the highest level since 2020 in November on a seasonally adjusted basis, rising half a percentage point month over month and 12.1% year over year. So that's good, right? That's good news that inventory is rising because that's exactly what we need to happen. The service industry needs more homes to sell. Buyers need more choice. And quite frankly, because of the economic impact of a single home sale, the economy as a whole needs the housing market to pick up so that all of that ancillary business that goes to contractors like general contractors, plumbers, painters, carpenters, landscapers, home stagers, attorneys, all of it, right? It spurs the economy when the housing market gets rolling. So let's jump in and check out some of the local stats here. Just bear with me as I get set up. So let's start out in Orange County and let's take a look at the number of new listings. And I want to kind of, as this market is shifting, okay, because it is, it's important to look at like what's happening now, right? So take a look at where we were in December of 24. This is just the raw data points, again, for Orange County, and this is new listings. We were up on the year as a whole, right? That's great news because if you look at the past, we've been on a decline for the number of listings for many years, really since 2000 and well, it came up. We've been in decline since 2020, just what that national stat said. So our local stats are showing the same. So we were up year over year pretty significantly. That's a really good sign. And the same thing holds true. I'm going to flip over to Sussex County new listings. Same holds true over here. Sorry, I didn't have the total column for you. But you can see in December, year over year, there was a pretty good increase in Sussex County as well. So things are looking up there. When you look at the average price, you can see things kind of set sail. I'm going to flip back and forth here. You can see price just continues to climb. And there doesn't really seem to be much relief in that respect, which is not great because I'm going to show you in just a minute too, interest rates are kind of on the rise as well. And a year over year, when you look at January of last year, where we are January of this year, we're actually up in terms of interest rates. So that just means affordability is still a really major problem. There's just a lot of people that can't afford to buy a home, and that is a problem. It's the same story we've been telling. There's not a huge headline here other than the fact that new listing inventory increased fairly substantially on a year over year basis. I also think that just from our own perspective locally, from a guy who is in Ringwood, New Jersey one day, Vernon, New Jersey the next, Warwick, New York, or Goshen, between our 4 offices that we have. And I'm talking with agents in each office and hearing how things are going for them. I can tell you that it's busy as far as new listing activity. There's a lot of new listings coming on the market. A lot of people feel very confident that we're headed into a better year in 25 than we were in 24 in terms of inventory. So that's a really good sign. I think the boots on the ground, that the message from the troops in the trenches is it looks better already, January this year versus January of last year. So that's great. I want to always encourage everybody on our website, in the About Us on our nav bar, over here, you can get to our training and events calendar. And if you find any one of our monthly real estate sales meeting entries, you can get to all of these different links with great data. All right. So I go right straight to this myself right from here every month when we talk. So what I want to look at, we do take a look at this each each month, pretty much. And this is the 30-year fixed rate mortgage average in the United States. And this is for a really long duration of time. But what I want to do is I want to shrink it down to like a 2-year period of time. Okay. So here we are where rates were really low, 2.7, 2.75, right? 2.5. Those rates were like unbelievable. And here we are now, currently on January 2nd at 6.91. But I think what's important to note, and this is why I'm optimistically cautious about 2025. And I don't think we're going to see like a huge roaring back market in 25, but I think we're going to start to see incremental improvement, which is great. I think that's what we need after the real estate depression that we went through starting in 2008 all the way through 2016, 17, around there. Things were kind of coming back in a nice fashion through 2019, 20, and then the pandemic hit and just like blew everything up. But if you take a look back, just go 1 year, you can see on December 28th of 23, rates were at 6.61. 1 year later, we're at 6.91. So there's been no improvement, basically. It's gotten a little bit worse in terms of rate environment. And that's what keeps my optimism somewhat tempered, is because I know that rates are just kind of going to stay in this territory, I think, at least for this year. I don't really see much relief coming anytime soon on that front. But look, historically speaking, we talked with Lucianne Tinarello earlier today, who's been with Green Team 15 years and in the industry over 40. She'll tell you, all you got to do is go back to the 80s to know that you have historically a great rate. Look at what some people were dealing with in 1981, 18.36%. September 25th, that was in 1981, that was the going rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage, 18.5%. So are we really in a terrible state? No, we're not. Historically, we're in a pretty good spot. You can see that, 6 and 7% interest rates have pretty much been the norm up until about the mid 2000s, right? 2003, 2004. Okay, so that's the good news. So then really, what is it that's going to propel this market forward? Well, the 5 Ds of real estate. Have you guys ever heard this term? It starts with diamonds. People get married and they need a home, right? And then it goes to diapers. Diamonds usually create diapers, right? And now you need a bigger home with more bedrooms. And then unfortunately, divorce is a force in our world, and that creates another reason to make a move, upsize, downsize, that sort of thing. And then as you're going on later in life, you have downsizing. That's the 4th D, right? Where your kids are out of the home and you don't need what you have anymore, and you want to downsize because maybe you want a snowbird and buy something down south, something like that. And then of course the last D is death. Those 5 things cause more real estate transactions than anything else, and regardless of the rate environment and the populations and this, that, the other thing, and all these variable factors that pertain to the housing market, those 5 things are always there and they're always pushing the market forward. And what's going to happen is, and this is inevitable, is people have been in this locked in buyer state where they have this very low rate and they can't get a rate comparable. So they've just been holding on where they normally might have made a move. But at some point in time, the 5 Ds come in and it pushes people. And as each year that goes by that these locked in buyers stay, at some point they're going to be pushed by one of the 5 Ds. And I think that's why we're going to start to see, because it's really been a couple of years now where this rate variance has existed and this locked in buyer status has happened. So already we have 2 years of people wanting to make a move, but they haven't. So we're going to start to see in 25 and beyond more of the 5 Ds pushing people out of their homes. So with that, I leave you back to our sales meeting. Dana, back to you.